What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Well, it was a wild and eventful weekend with April 1st falling on Saturday, which means there were announcements all over the place. Some were pretty obviously fake, others though blurred the lines, and then one in particular was a full-on game release that got everyone really excited, and we'll go over all these different announcements here today. Also, we are going to be talking about good news for the Xbox on the expandable storage side of things, and we have another game delay. This one, though, is a bit of a strange situation, and right now is not sitting well with fans. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button, helps out a ton, and if new here to the Spawnwave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. And we're going to start today with King of Fighters and SNK, as they had a bunch of things to announce. It just wasn't the best timing because it was all happening on April 1st when a bunch of April Fool's Day jokes were going on, and all of a sudden SNK decided to wake up and start making all these different announcements. In fact, if you look through their Twitter account now, you can sort of see when this was going on, with a lot of stuff for King of Fighters 15, different characters being revealed. They have their little update roadmap here as well. But then they talk about that Garu Mark of the Wolves game that is still in development. They announced it last year. It's just very, very early on, and it still appears to be that way here. Just wanted to remind everyone. But then they announced rollback netcode for Samurai Showdown and King of Fighters 13 global match. Say it features rollback netcode, improved online functionality, and it's set currently for release early summer 2023. And this is going to be on the PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch. That's pretty cool to see that for King of Fighters fans. A lot of good announcements here. It does coincide with EVO Japan, just in case anyone was wondering why exactly all this was popping up. Just, again, not the greatest timing, as people were like, oh, SNK is just announcing a bunch of stuff. Okay, it's April 1st. No, all this was actually real. Also, as we head into a summer without any E3 to look forward to, it does appear we will have something from Sony to check out, and we're all assuming it's a showcase. In fact, we're seeing more and more reports of this. We can see from Jeff Grubb. He likes to write up his summer game mess, where he'll just kind of piece together what all the different companies are doing, and we can see at the top of his list that he posted up on Twitter before Summer Game Fest, PlayStation Showcase. And I believe we will have that as well. It shouldn't shock anyone. It's been a long time since they did a large showcase. Remember the last one, they showed us Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine, and God of War Ragnarok was in there, so it's been a while. But clearly they have to set up their holiday with Spider-Man 2, full release date. I think they have to do more support for PlayStation VR 2. Even if you're not 100% on that report, I think it's pretty clear that they need to get some big marketing push behind it in terms of software, and then anything else they can announce from some of their second-party agreements that might play more into the multiplayer side of things. And speaking of which, we still have to see their Last of Us Factions multiplayer game. So a lot of stuff to look forward to here with Sony, and I would expect this most likely to take place in the second half of May. Oh, and here's an interesting thing to keep an eye on, especially going into this week, and it has to do with Microsoft's next generation system. I know it sounds weird because it feels like the PS5 and the Xbox Series just got here, but these companies start working on the next system basically right away. And this was spotted in a regulatory filing here, where they say request documents related to redacted, the code name for Microsoft's next generation gaming ecosystem. Redacted is part of Microsoft's forward-looking strategy for its console, subscription, and cloud gaming businesses, all markets. So right now, there does appear to be a code name floating around that was redacted here, and I saw some people who typically report on the Xbox stuff kind of saying, oh, maybe we'll look into that a bit. Maybe I know what it is. So just keep your eyes out on that. It might be interesting to see what exactly their code name is, with Microsoft looking towards the future, most likely 5 or 6 years from now. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with April Fool's Day that happened on Saturday. And it was a mix of obviously fake, blurring the lines, and then real announcements, actual games coming out of this. And April 1st is an interesting day for game companies to approach, because on one hand, yes, they could have some fun, make a render or a quick little trailer just for marketing purposes, promotion of the brand and all that, and it'll cycle through the news, people get a laugh and so on. But it's also the possibility of testing out the market a bit, seeing if maybe you have an idea that might be kind of borderline, you don't know if it's ridiculous or not, but we can show it, and if people respond positively, oh wait, that's an actual thing. If not, it was April Fool's, right? That's all. Well, let's go through a few of these here, starting with some of the more ridiculous ones. Like this was posted up by HyperX. They cooked up this headset So you can stop telling us to stay hydrated. It's a headset that just squirts you with water while you're playing your game. Razer, they decided to have what looks like a mouse that you can also shave with, just so you don't have to leave your desk. I guess feels like you have to clean up your desk quite a bit though, but hey, you know what? Not a bad idea, I guess, to test the market. I also like Blasphemous. They decided to go old school and make a Tiger handheld that has spikes around the side they showed a video of them trying to play it and kept stabbing them over and over again. It was fun to see the callback though to the Tiger handheld. Anyone remember those back in the day? IGN decided to kind of play into the idea of the voices for the Mario movie and intertwine it with some of the games where you would have a mode that you can turn on in your game that would then just take the voices of those voice actors and put them into Luigi's Mansion, Super Mario, all of that different stuff. So that was fun because they built up a kind of a Nintendo Direct to showcase it and stuff. So, and again, not a bad idea there. But then we got into some that I will admit, I think it's because it went up on Friday and I wasn't even thinking about it. This one almost got me a bit here, and I had to even be reminded that, oh yeah, tomorrow's April 1st. This is the infamous Philips CDI Zelda games being remastered for the Switch. I feel like this has happened before as an April Fool's joke, but again, it's kind of fun there to consider the idea of Nintendo even recognizing those games, let alone remastering them for the Switch. And then we start to get into the realm of companies testing products. At least this is what Platinum Games kind of did years ago. They announced Sol Cresta and everyone thought it was this April Fool's Day joke. And then they kind of played into it a bit. And then finally they went, no, this is a game we're going to do, Sol Cresta. And they said that they were going to do like this 10 game series of sort of throwback to Neo Geo or like the old school style games. They call it the Shocking 10 is what they're referring to them as, and Sol Cresta being the first one. And they did reveal the second one, which is weird because that means we still have another 8 to do, but it's like this side-scrolling shooter and it's starring a virtual YouTuber. They played into the idea of April Fools dressing up in costumes and such, but again, this isn't new for Platinum Games, and I do like the idea of them making this kind of a tradition, and this is most likely a series that they'll continue to reveal more of for different entries on April Fools, like every other year or so. So Sol Cresta, when it was announced, it was the following year that it came out, and we don't really have much information on this side-scrolling psychedelic kind of game. So again, work in progress, they say. We'll see more about that as we go along, but it's interesting to keep an eye on Platinum Games whenever we come up on April Fools to see if they have a brand new game to show us. But that brings us to what I think was the best April Fool's Day joke on Saturday, because while it was a joke, it was also a full-on game that was free, and it starred Sonic. Just Sonic, not really the hero, more the victim, which, take a look at this. This posted up by the Sonic the Hedgehog Twitter account. The Sonic social team proudly presents The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, a brand new Sonic game available right now on Steam for free. Everyone kind of looked at this, and they were like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, great. It's The Murder of Sonic. They made a little trailer. No. They made the entire game. It's available on Steam right now for free. That part definitely shocked everyone, that it was an actual thing and they weren't just making that up. Oh, it's free on Steam. Yeah, right. You can go check it out. And what's great about this is the system requirements are extremely low. We're talking like Core 2 Duo and 2 gigabytes of RAM. And that's partly because it's a visual novel, point and click kind of game. But the premise is fun. It's kind of built up, like a mystery, sure. And you go around, they have like little mini games that'll pop up occasionally as you're playing through this. And I think this is a cool way for them to test the waters a bit, again, on April Fools, with a different genre maybe for Sonic the Hedgehog. Some people were saying, kind of like Danganronpa, sort of, just obviously playing into the Sonic universe. But those are the kind of April Fool's Day jokes I like to see, are these different companies just trying something new, taking a chance, and if it doesn't work, you have the April Fools to fall back on. But hey, who knew? The idea of a visual novel Sonic game playing into the mystery aspect seems to be working out well. Overwhelmingly positive on Steam, although I guess it's kind of hard to complain about a game that's just shadow dropped and it's free, and it is kind of testing something brand new for a series that's been going on for a long time. But let me know if you had a chance to play this new point and click visual novel Sonic game and what you think about it. And then also Let me know what you thought about April Fool's Day in general for 2023 in games, whether it's something that maybe caught you off guard or tricked you completely. Next up, let's talk about some good news for Xbox when it comes to the expandable storage side of things, which I've complained about a couple of times now, and that's because right now there's one option on the market, and that's that Seagate expandable memory card. You buy it, you pop it in the Xbox. That experience is fine because it's pretty straightforward. There's not a lot when it comes to installing it. You don't have to open up the side panel and screw it in just right, get a heatsink for it. It just works, right? But the drawback to that is there's no open market for it, where you have a bunch of different companies competing and driving the price down. With just Seagate, the 1 terabyte memory card for the Xbox Series is still $200 or more, depending on your market and all this. And that's unfortunate because you see on the PlayStation 5, a 1 terabyte NVMe is $100 or less currently. And you can get a 2 terabyte for $150 to $170. And I actually did a video over the weekend showcasing a 4 terabyte drive that I got on sale for $250. So yeah, bit of a difference there. And the good news is it appears reinforcements are coming. While it has not been officially announced by Microsoft, a product page went live early on Best Buy, and it's been up and down in terms of being able to see the page, but The Verge fortunately caught a lot of the screenshots from Best Buy, and we can see those posted here, with Western Digital showing up to the scene with what looks like their own memory card variant for the Xbox Series. Now, this is great news, one, because there'd be, I guess, that licensing deal that we assume was 2 years then, looking at this, running up, which means maybe other companies will show up, but also Western Digital showing up with a 1 terabyte expansion card at $180. Still more expensive than I'd like to see for 1 terabyte, but it is cheaper than Seagate. Again, coming at $200 to $220, and that means that most likely Seagate would match this, move their price down, and then you can hopefully get a snowball effect of just them battling back and forth with pricing, giving us most likely a cheaper alternative as we go forward. The other aspect outside of just the 1 terabyte variant is Western Digital could show up with a 4 terabyte, their own 2 terabyte model, and really affect the prices from Seagate on that end, because the price has just been way too high for that expandable storage. You can get an external hard drive and just move stuff back and forth, but if you want to play a game that's an Xbox Series game, you have to play it off of the internal storage or that really expensive memory card. So I'm hoping that this is the start of more manufacturers showing up. And while it will never necessarily mirror what we see currently with the PlayStation 5's market, because those NVMe drives can be used for PCs and all this, right? So there's much more to choose from. If we can just get more options, we should see better prices overall. So crossing my fingers for that. And we're waiting for an announcement from Western Digital and Microsoft. I assume it's imminent anytime now. If those pages were set up already on Best Buy, most likely we could see an announcement as soon as this week. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about a game delay that, while obviously it's disappointing to see this, is not sitting well right now with fans, and that's for Ark 2. Now, it's not necessarily that Ark 2 has been delayed, more so what Studio Wildcard is doing with Ark 1, like the game that people are currently playing, which Ark is fairly popular. If you look on Steam concurrent player counts and all of this, it's doing pretty well, but it appears they have alternate plans for that current version of Ark. Namely, plans that would actually shut this down as we get into August. Let's take a look here. This posted up over on their website with a full update that starts with the words, I'm not kidding, and now for the roadmap, which you always know that's going to be a lot of fun. Ark 2, they say they've decided to delay the sequel's launch to the end of 2024. It's going to launch exclusively Xbox, Game Pass, Windows, and it appears that it will not be created for like the Xbox One or anything. They're just going to solely focus on current gen platforms and looking towards Unreal Engine 5, which, according to them, is one of the things that's kind of causing this delay as they continue to learn more and more about Unreal Engine 5. And I've never really had a problem with the delay of a game if it just means it's going to be better when it comes out. You know, in the long run, it makes more sense to delay it rather than release a busted game. But the thing that is really frustrating to people right now is Ark Survival Ascended. So it's, according to them, a remaster that they're going to do where they are going to move it up to be more in line with what they have with Arc 2. As you can see, it's going to be an Unreal Engine 5 overhaul with nanite, lumen, dynamic water, interactive foliage, like a lot of stuff happening here. Cross-platform multiplayer, cross-platform modding, great. But they are going to charge $50 on the Xbox side because it will come with Arc 2. So you do get kind of this Arc Survival Ascended as well as Arc 2, which right now would be kind of an IOU, basically a pre-order setup there. On the PlayStation 5 side, it's $40. You won't get Arc 2 with that, you'll just get the Survival Ascended. This all is coming out, or set to come out, August 2023, which is when they will be shutting down support and servers, like online stuff, for the current Arc Survival Evolved that they have on those platforms, which is the biggest thing that's frustrating to people currently. A lot of the DLC and updates and other things they've done, they're just kind of shutting all of that down, which you can see here, the new paid expansion pack. It's a canonical story expansion pack for Arc Survival Ascended, and that's going to be available in Q4 2023. So it's kind of a mess here. Some of the pricing a bit confusing to people even online, but as far as I can tell right now, if you do want to go to the Survival Ascended mode, or this version of the game for the Xbox Series, PlayStation 5, what have you, you want to pay an additional amount rather than see some sort of upgrade just applied to the game that you've been putting quite a bit of money into for the DLC, the base game, etc. And then Arc 2 looking to come out later on in 2024. So yeah, unfortunate stuff there. I see why people are so frustrated with this, because they're kind of not even giving you an option necessarily, as if you stick with Arc Survival Evolved, you'll be playing offline, or I guess just with private servers. Nothing official from them when it comes to support or online play. And before we go to the comment of the day, we're gonna take a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday, where I ask, how do you feel about April Fool's Day jokes from gaming websites, YouTube, Twitter? 55% say I don't like it. It's just become annoying. 45% say I like it. It's fun to see what people come up with. Yeah, I think some years obviously better than others. Like, there are times where I even forget that it's gonna be April Fool's and it's just very muted, it feels like, online. And then there are other years where there's just some really good ones out there, whether it's fake directs that people put a lot of time into making it look legitimate, or full-on game announcements, and we end up with a Sonic mystery murder visual novel, which you would have not expect that going into April Fool's Day, so that at least was pretty fun. But I can also see how it's kind of annoying, because then you go, I can't really believe anything that's announced today, and then, hey, look, there's SNK with a bunch of legitimate announcements for EVO. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Samson saying, I think Sony expected a soft launch. You can't even buy the VR2 at retailers yet. As more software is released, they will push it with more marketing going into fall, and then really hit hard for holiday season. So I do think you're correct in that we do need to see how the VR2 headset will perform in the holiday time period, as that's typically when people will go out and buy the $500 system or headset or anything there, right? And you also want to give it some time to see if Sony can produce legitimate hard or software to go along with that hardware, which the hardware is good. The software, at least the must-have software, is what needs work, and you'd expect that to take time anyway. So after a full year, I think is when you'd reevaluate for something like a price cut. For them to do it like soon after launch, might be rushing things a bit. So we'll see, especially as we get closer to the end of this year with that showcase hopefully happening, how serious Sony really is about PSVR 2. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. It was April Fool's Day on Saturday. Let me know what announcements you liked or which ones just annoyed you. And then also, what about Western Digital showing up with an Xbox expandable storage card? Are you hopeful that this means other companies will show up and maybe some of those prices will start to go down? Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.